Right. So welcome everybody to our program this evening. We have a special format tonight. I thought to initiate our Rohatsu week, our Ango ending Rohatsu week, with a more formal program for this Monday evening. So I wanted to bring in our chants, which we did some of, and then we'll do some sitting. And I'll give a more formal Dharma talk. And we won't have any discussion afterwards, okay, to be in the spirit of a session retreat. So you don't have to think about what you're going to say in the discussion. You're free from that. And I invite you to really accept this Dharma talk in the way that we're instructed to always, which is to take it as if you're the only person that's receiving it. You're the only person in the room, and it's meant for you. So if it supports you to close your eyes, relax and take in my talk that way, certainly please do so. My intention is not to stir up your thoughts, not to give you something to analyze or chew on, something to bat back. But really more just there might be a word or a phrase or a sentence or a passage in my talk that just drops into your consciousness in a way that opens something up, or perhaps is a seed. Might grow into something down the line, or not. So I invite you to just open the field of your own awareness with that curiosity, that attention, and analyze. Yeah, so this is actually the last Monday program that we'll do for quite a while too. So we'll take after we conclude Rohatsu session on Sunday, then take the next 3 Mondays off our Shambhala program here on Monday nights. And then we'll resume again on December 30th, just before the new year. So we'll do something for the turn of the year there. But I say this to encourage you to, starting now, throw yourself into strong practice tonight, tomorrow, this week, and through Rohatsu session this coming weekend. Really throw yourself into it. And then, the group will break a week from today. Yeah, my intention with my talks always is to encourage you to strong practice. And there was a contemporary teacher who was asked what teaching Zen is all about. And he responded, encouragement. And then he was asked, well, what else? He said, encouragement and encouragement. So that was the totality, of his intention with his Dharma talks. And that's my spirit as well, is to encourage you to practice and practice. And it's your practice that will open up your heart mind. And so you will see and realize and actualize your true self and true nature. This morning in Dokusan, one of you came and asked me about having an experience of the Absolute. And it was a really wonderful conversation. This person had attended Shishin Roshi's Zen Peacemaker talk last Monday, a week ago today. which some of you were there at, and Shoen hosted and Hoden hosted. And he was talking, he gave a beautiful, brilliant talk on his new book, The Five Ranks of Tozan. It's a great book, and Shishin Roshi gave a wonderful talk on it. I confess to some of you that I attended the talk, and tears welled up in my eyes as I listened to him give his talk, because I'm so grateful to what he gave me for the 20 years that I practiced with him. His wisdom, his heart. So grateful, and I'm so proud of him for what he's accomplished in his expression. He's such an amazing teacher. I'm blessed to have practiced with him for so long. And one of the things that he said in the talk that the student brought to me this morning was, you can't really understand Tozan's 5 ranks without having had a kensho, without having had an experience of the absolute. So they're like, so should I be reading this book if I haven't? And it's a great question, and I think it was important, to hear that from Shishin. And what I want to emphasize is the importance of having an experience, a kensho experience in our practice. That is what our Zen practice is focused on. It's to truly realize who we are, in this lifetime, to really drop away the false ideas we have about ourselves. This sense of I, of me, of who I am, that through our conditioning, we believe to be a being that possesses this body and is separate from all other beings. The Dharma tells us, and hopefully your experience tells you at some level, that this is not true, that you are bigger than this, that your mind and your body extend vastly beyond the limits that you think. So to bring this true self alive, we say its true self is no self, because it's not at all fixed in any way. To bring this alive is a great grace in life. To recognize that this self that we've been carrying around, and when we just drop it like a heap of clothes, and it just falls like that. And we recognize all these things that we had stuffed in our pockets and on our backs, and we were carrying around in all our belts, and maybe there was some armor and protections. We don't need them. And to realize yourself as this awareness itself, this awakeness itself. That's what Buddha means, awake one. So our theme for this Ango has been appreciating your life. And I'll go back to the first talk I gave at the beginning of Ango. And I talked about how Maizumi Roshi, who had taken this phrase from, how he really expressed it. He said, appreciate your life as the subtle mind of Nirvana. Appreciate your life as the subtle mind of Nirvana. So like I said 3 months ago, this is a bit different than appreciating your life um, in perhaps a more basic way. I appreciate this taste. I appreciate this person. And appreciate this state. Okay. Do we really appreciate, the depth of those things? This is usually like, oh, I got it. I like it. You get the texture of it. Really, yeah. Okay, good. But what about your life? Appreciate your life as the subtle mind of Nirvana. So there's so much there, and that's what we've been practicing with for the last 3 months. What does it mean to appreciate? How do we appreciate? Subtle. The subtlety speaks to the non-fixity. We can't put our finger on it. It's not black and white. Reality isn't black and white. Okay, I, me, and you, and you're you. That's not so subtle. That's black and that's white. It's not so subtle. Okay, yeah, of course there can be that dimension of things, but if you're only limited to that, the formness of form, if you're only experiencing the relative as relative, which is what our normative consciousness does, right? Reality is entirely relative. Normative, cognitive, conceptual consciousness doesn't have that contact with the absolute. The absolute is informing that, but we don't experience it. We don't bring that absolute alive. So the subtlety is about seeing that within everything we sense can be a fixed form, be it a body, be it an idea, be it a sensation. Right within that is the opposite. So within all of our form, there's space. Everything solid is filled with space. Within every sound, there's silence. Within all music, there is silence. There's nothing that doesn't contain its opposite as a part of it, you could say. And nothing is ever fixed. That's subtle, actually, to see that. So, mind. Yeah, probably not the best word to use. We can get a little bit back up in our heads about mind, but heart, mind, awareness, consciousness. When we practice Zazen, we go into the silence. We let that cognitive, discursive mind settle down. And then what is that awareness that persists? Within which sounds arise and fade away, ideas, images, forms. What is that? If we even use the word mind is just concept. It's a thought form. And we have other associations with. But that itself arises within this ever-present, eternal, infinite field. Those are words too, but of awareness that we call mind. It's been with you from the moment you were born. It's been with you before you were born. It's been with you for who knows how long. And it's not going anywhere. It's not off in the distance somewhere. It's not up in the clouds. It's right here. More intimate than you can possibly imagine. It's the substance of your body. It's the substance of your thoughts. The subtle mind of Nirvana. So Nirvana is about cessation. Cessation. Since cessation of what? Of attachment, of samsara, of conditioned consciousness, things like this. We can actually feel this. Yeah, we feel it almost on a daily basis. We can feel when we're free, and we can feel when we're not free. This is the experience of the absolute, the Kensho, that is the promise, of this practice. It is, and I imagine, and I believe, and I know, I guess, that at varying levels, it motivates all of you to experience this, to have a Kensho, and more, to internalize that. And that is right at the heart of Zen practice, to have that. So there is, sometimes we can get feeling like we're not supposed to have a goal in practice, but there is, I'd like to use the word yearning. There's a yearning that we have, an aspiration to experience ourselves in a more true way. I was brought to practice by suffering that I, at some level from the beginning, I sensed I was creating for myself. And then, I was exposed to the Dharma and the teachings, and oh yeah, here it is, right? Buddha's teachings, first, second, and third noble truths. It's like it just totally rang true. It rang true. Not only that, my first few meditation experiences, I just loved it from day one. So I just had that pleasure that I got from sitting, but I also had this dim but very powerful sense that I was creating my own suffering. And then here was the Dharma saying that, yep. And then there's the fourth noble truth, which was what to do about it, how to take care of it, right? The Eightfold Path. And that's what I've been practicing for 35 years. More or less intensity and more or less, grace, perhaps. But I had a very strong yearning from the beginning to realize myself with experiences, and then to internalize and actualize, myself in this way. And that's what the practice does offer, is to do that. So I know everyone here, has that aspiration to do that. And that's what our retreats are about. And that's where the real deep work is done, in these retreats. So tonight we begin this 5-day-ish, 6-day-ish retreat week. So I encourage you to practice very strongly. Morning sitting, evening sittings, if you can. Maintain a quietness, in your life to the best of your ability. And when we're in session, we maintain noble silence through the whole thing. So it's such a blessing. So obviously, we won't be able to do that over the most of the week, but do your best to minimize, chatter and distraction and activity, mental activity especially. And just throw yourself into everything you do as if it is a period of session, a period in session. And then when you're done, leave it aside and jump into the next thing. And then leave that aside and go into the next one. And then sleep and get up, do it again. Just every period at a time, half an hour, an hour and a half, whatever it may be, just do everything fully. Yeah, this is the beauty of Zen, is that it's so simple. And when we do this with a strong Zazen form and practice together, there's this collective alchemy that happens. We cook all together, and then these shifts happen. We can't force them, but we can create conditions within our body mind for them to happen, for something to happen. And I encourage you to take advantage of the forms of your own practice, whether it be your posture in meditation, or it be the schedule that you follow of Zazen, or of anything else you follow. Because, why? Why do we have to be so disciplined? Well, it's really easy to just fall into these autopilot modes of our habits. We can get distracted. We can get end up in cul-de-sacs, overanalyzing things, wrapped up in unimportant matters. And we can get complacent. So even the thing that we want, and we have clear path to pursuing it, we can lose the ardor, we can lose the juice. So I'll just do this, or I'll just do that. So I'm lighting a little bit of a fire here in the final week to not do that. Do just the opposite. And throw yourself into everything this week, and come to our retreat this weekend. We'll have a Jukai ceremony on Saturday morning, and Shuso Hosen ceremony to conclude Ango on Sunday morning, the Dharma combat. Our Shuso, who's here tonight, Hoden, will be presenting his Dharma talk on his koan, and then he will meet the lions and tigers in the room in Dharma combat. So please come to those ceremonies. If you can't make it to the retreat, you're welcome to come to the ceremonies too. Yeah, so, experiencing the absolute, realizing, seeing clearly that you're not who you think you are. You're not who you have thought yourself to be. And then to keep practicing that, keep bringing that alive, keep dropping it away, because our conditioned mind comes back. Right? We have 1,500 years of Zen practice. We know the pitfalls. We know how to help each other with distraction, with complacency, with dead ends, with cul-de-sacs, with plateaus, with setbacks or perceived setbacks, with losses of inspiration. All of that. Everything you've been through, thousands of people have been through before you. And it's a beautiful path because it includes all of those things. The doubts, there's no way I can have a Kensho. I can't experience that. Not me. I can't sit that much. And Zen's not for me. Oh, I had that one great experience, but that's really faded. Yeah, I've been there. Many of us have been there. It's part of the path. It's part of the path, and this path is very true. Very true. It's tried and true. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Teachers, teachings, community, works. And when we start really appreciating our life, we realize how much we have not been appreciating our life. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I've had these moments where when I do have a deepening of this preciousness that's happening here, the openness, the vastness that is and always has been present. And then I, remember how limited and closed, I have often been and still am sometimes. Then I appreciate even more the practice. And I appreciate appreciating my life. So that's how it happens, just magnifies. As many of you have commented, this practice just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. And it's not like a linear thing. It's like, more and more is included, more and more is allowed, more and more is felt, and more is seen. Appreciate that. Okay, we're getting towards the end of our time tonight. So thank you for your participation in our program tonight. I hope this has been encouraging for you to move on to a strong week of practice. And I hope to see everyone in Dokusan this week, and in practice over the weekend. So we can conclude with the 4 vows, and I want to appreciate all of you who are online as well. I'm very much aware of your presence. So thank you for being here. We'll conclude with the 4 vows, and then let's just keep the talk to a minimum, as we file out, and then outside. I don't want to say we're going to keep complete session noble silence. Some of you don't see each other very much, so not that, but we'll just try to maintain a session mind. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.